Jex Blackmore, national spokesperson of the Satanic Temple. It is my hope that we can encourage people to see this film and really undergo a transformation and inspire a satanic experience.
That is so crazy. The Witch, The Vivitch, is one of those movies that was burned into my brain after watching it. Due to my theater actually enforcing age limits for movies, I was forced to buy a ticket to the critically acclaimed Zoolander 2.
We will protect the chosen one.
I then snuck into The Witch, had to sit in like the second row, broke my neck just to look at the screen, and saw this scene.
Boo!
Anya Taylor-Joy is playing peekaboo with this baby, and guess what? It gets snatched up. Where did it go? There's no way it could be in the woods. It's in the woods. And a witch is running away with him. Suddenly, she is naked and using that thing that you make guac with, but bigger. And to my surprise, she is turning the baby into smithereens. A baby? She rubs the chunks on her body, and I kid you not, lubes up a stick to this incredible score. And floats off in the moonlight. The baby was used as flying ointment. Hey, not my words. And this could have all been prevented. Ralph Ineson, great actor, great voice. His character is a massive fuck up in this. William is with his family in court because he's having a religious dispute with the Puritan settlement that they are a part of. William is like, I sailed across an ocean, because he's an English settler. I sailed across an ocean to spread the gospel in its purest form, and y'all are on bullshit. Then this guy says, hey, you're not the judge, we are. And William says,
I cannot be judged by false Christians.
The guy asks if William is going to keep being prideful and dishonoring the laws of the church, and he's like, yeah. And his family gets banished from the settlement. Now you might be like, damn, he's really standing on shit. And I mean, yeah, but at what cost? The year is 1630. That didn't even sound right coming out of my mouth. So a normal, average life is extremely fucked. Oh, you live to see your 5th birthday and you're lucky enough to have a stable food supply? Well, now you have smallpox, so you're cooked. If you get a cavity, you might as well give up. What are they even eating? One Chick-fil-A waffle fry would put them in a coma. The letter W was barely used. That's why it's the Vivitch. So there's all this, plus the fact that William has a wife, 4 kids, and another on the way. Why would you allow your family to be banished from this settlement? You prideful fuck. Then they moved to a place right outside a secluded forest, and, you know. So obviously after this, the vibes are simply not good. And William continues to fail his family. While hunting, his son Caleb asks him if the baby is in heaven, and he essentially says, haha, beats me. Caleb also asks him where he got his hunting supplies from, and William reveals that he traded his wife Catherine's prized silver cup for them, and that he's keeping it a secret from her. Shortly after this, he looks up and sees a hare, but completely botches the kill. And even gets hurt in the process. Your harvest can't last through the winter, you happen to stumble across some game, and you don't even get a shot off. He traded away his wife's most valuable possession for hunting supplies, but get this, he can't even hunt. To be fair, the hare is definitely cursed and may even be a witch, but I have agendas to push. So they can't catch food, and to make matters worse, evil is present on the farm. One thing I didn't appreciate when I first watched this is how well it creates this ominous atmosphere. I felt this sense of dread and uneasiness while watching this movie, like looking around my apartment to make sure nothing spooky was going on. There'll be shots of the forest or characters that seem to go on a little longer than they should. The score is intentionally simple and doesn't have melody, which just makes everything more tense. They really use the nickel harpa and waterphone. So I mean, it had to be good. The horror in this is also pretty subtle. Like, there's a scene where Thomason drops an egg and there's just a dead chick inside of it, which is crazy, and Thomason thinks it's crazy, but doesn't have a big reaction to it. And she has a similar subtle reaction when she sees the evil hare staring at her. She's not really like, OMG, what's happening? But more so, the evil that I knew existed is upon me. No! Even the baby scene, which is one of the more insane things I've seen in a movie, doesn't feel like this big grand scare even though it is. No dramatic score, no jump scare, just disturbing vibes. And outside of the subtle horror, there's also the fact that you have this extremely religious family isolated near a remote wilderness who are paranoid that evil is upon them because what happened to that baby? From their perspective, obviously we know. Pretty much this movie is unsettling, family morale is in the gutter, and things are getting weird. The creepy twins, Jonas and Mercy, are chanting,
Phillip, tonight Queen is wed.
who is actually a sociopath. I think about this character like once every 5 months. That's the type of beast we're dealing with here. The fact that he's not in this movie more because he was difficult to train makes so much sense. Like this wasn't even in the script. Bro just wanted to act out. Demon. More on him later. So this movie is pretty much a family melodrama / horror. And we begin to see the family dysfunction play out. Catherine already believes the family is cursed. She thinks that they should have never left the settlement, which is true, that the baby is in hell because he didn't get baptized, and that their crops have negative trade value.
Corn is trash.
That is a hilarious line. She also hates Thomason, and you kind of get the feeling that it's rooted in jealousy. Thomason is either going through puberty or in post-pubescence. She's begot the sign of her womanhood, and her mom sees her as temptation for Caleb and William. Insane, I know, but you pair that with Catherine maybe being seen as past her prime or not as useful in society, and you get tension and crazy hating. Thomason can literally do nothing right in the eyes of her mother. Like here, for example.
I told thee to keep watch of Jonas and Mercy.
I was, and I bade them help me and they paid me no mind. I was against
What's the matter with thee, Thomason?
She then tries to help discipline the twins in response to her mom saying this, but she just gets told to fuck off.
Jonas!
Father said stop it.
Thomason!
Later at dinner, Catherine just randomly blames Thomason for losing her silver cup, with no proof. The one that William told Caleb he traded earlier. And of course, as Catherine is drilling Thomason about it, all William can say is this.
She says she don't touch it, Catherine.
Oh my god, pussy. It's also worth mentioning that Catherine blames Thomason for the baby getting snatched, and Loki thinks she's a witch. After hearing their parents talk about how the family might be finished,
We will starve!
why did she say that so loudly? Caleb and Thomason sneak into the forest to check a trap that was set earlier, when they come across the evil hare that made William shit himself. The dog runs after it, and the horse Thomason is riding throws her off, which knocks her out. Caleb runs after the dog and finds that it has been ripped open. He gets lost, goes further into the wilderness, and comes across a hut. No shoes, red cloak, that depraved look on her face. I mean, this just can't be good. I mean, you would probably like this because you have unresolved issues, but a normal guy like me would be put off by this occurrence. But yeah, this is of course a witch, and she doesn't actually look like this. It's getting harder for Thomason to beat the witch allegations, because once again, one of her siblings disappears while she's with them. Catherine is asking why she went to the woods with Caleb when William decides to finally admit that he traded her silver cup to, I guess, take the heat off of Thomason. Earlier, when he and Caleb came back from hunting, Catherine was pissed that they just left without saying anything, and William let Caleb lie to her, saying that they went to go pick apples because he thought he saw an apple tree. He admits to this as well, which makes Catherine realize that he is a fraudulent coward. And after getting slapped,
Catherine!
this loser can't even treat his own wound. So then the evil ramps up even more. Caleb shows up in the middle of the night naked, and fearful that he has fallen victim to witchcraft, they try to pray for him and put some of his blood into a bowl, but at this point that is not gonna work. The next morning, the twins claim that they've been talking to Black Phillip, who apparently told them that Thomason put the devil in Caleb. Right after this, Thomason tries to milk the irrelevant goat, and it is not rich milk that comes out, but instead blood. And Black Phillip is like, huh? Meanwhile, Catherine is convinced that what's going on with Caleb has to be witchcraft because he hasn't woken up since he came back. And William is like,
What witch?
and then says that they should go back to the settlement so Thomasin can work for a family and Caleb can see a doctor. Logically, Catherine wonders how they would be able to do that without a horse. And William is like, oh, don't worry, I actually accounted for that.
We'll back with Caleb and sell them. Return with a horse for the twins and Thomasin.
Leave Thomasin and the twins alone. William is being an idiot again. And then Caleb finally wakes up. Oh yeah, it's over. This man coughs up an entire apple. The twins call Thomasin a witch. The family is crumbling. William makes everyone pray, but the twins forget their prayer. So a witch has potentially gotten to them. Caleb then starts saying bullshit and dies, which makes Catherine confident that Thomasin is a witch. And even William thinks she kinda has a point, which leads to Thomasin calling him out for being an ass father.
You let mother be as thy master. You cannot bring the crops to yield. You cannot hunt. Is that truth enough? Thou canst do nothing save cut wood.
She's right. All he can do is chop wood. This made him so sick that he called his own daughter a bitch and tried to say that those were the devil's words she was speaking, as if they weren't completely true.
Must I hear the devil wag his tongue in thy mouth?
Crazy way to try and spin that. Thomasin then says that the twins are the ones that brought evil to the family by making a covenant with the devil in the form of Black Phillip. And although she would appear to be right, you would think that maybe William wouldn't be so quick to believe accusations like this, but no, he just starts yelling at his small children who may or may not be unconscious.
Just hear that, yo devils! Did ye make some unholy bond with that ghost? Wait! Where's the trigger?
So the twins are not unconscious because they wake up after William threatens to kill Jonas. And he decides to put them and Thomasin in the goat house with Black Phillip. That night, Thomasin and the twins see a witch drinking the white goat's blood, and in the house, Catherine is seeing a hallucination of Caleb and baby Samuel. She starts breastfeeding Sam, but of course this is not real. In reality, a crow is chewing her nipple up. And it's really aggressive, like, give me that shit. William was sleeping through all this, and he goes outside the next morning to find the twins gone, the goat house damaged, the white goat's super dead, and Thomasin's still alive. But before he can do anything, Black Phillip has decided that he is done chilling in the shadows and is disgusted by the mediocrity that is William's existence. And he just dances around like a dickhead. You know, after seeing this, I wondered, why would a goat be jumping in a situation like this? And when you look up, why do goats jump, you see things like to escape predators, climb terrain, and for the joy of it. So he's just fucking lit right now? He did critical damage off a cheap shot and is as blissful as can be. I love it, I love it, I love it, I love it. Fuck you, William. I love it, I love it, I love it. William tries to say something profound, but Black Phillip does not care.
Corruption. Thou art my father.
He's tweaking.
And he trots off like it's nothing, as William's chopped wood falls on his dead body. The only thing he was good at. Bum. Catherine comes out to see this and of course takes this to mean that Thomasin is, as she thought, a witch, and even accuses her of trying to seduce her brother and father with her sluttish looks. She then starts choking Thomasin, who kills her in self-defense. Now, Thomasin was of course not actually a witch, but after being viewed by her family as a source of temptation, her mom hating on her, almost all her family turning on her, and growing up in a rather oppressive society, she's like, maybe I will be a witch.
But this is what y'all wanted, right? To me not give a fuck.
At night, Thomasin goes into the goat house and speaks to Black Phillip.
Black Phillip, I conjure thee to speak to me.
Right as she's about to give up on him answering, he responds to her in this echoey whisper.
What dost thou want? Wouldst thou like the taste of butter?
He sounds like he's about to put his tongue in my ear. And do you know how shit your world has to be for butter to be a major selling point for witchcraft? Thomasin asks what she has to do to be able to see the world and live deliciously, and a book appears in front of her. Black Phillip walks over, and we see a hoof, then a boot, as he morphs into a man. That was good. He tells Thomasin to remove her clothes, as you can faintly see him behind her, which I always thought was pretty creepy. And she signs his book, officially making her a witch.
I will guide thy hand.
What I think is so interesting about this movie is that you can interpret it in two ways. One, all of this happened. The family was the victim of demonic activity. Or two, they experienced psychosis. They probably ate contaminated food, they're in extreme isolation, and very paranoid. They hallucinated everything. And whether taken literally or figuratively, it can also be looked at as a story that's told to scare people into conforming and living a certain lifestyle. The title card does say a New England folktale, and I think I like looking at it this way. Thomasin walks into the woods with Black Phillip and finds a group of naked witches chanting. They all begin to levitate, and Thomasin looks the happiest we've seen her this entire movie.